The freak out continues. It's a constitutional crisis, don't you know, because somebody is trying to make the government run efficiently. We can't have that. That's a constitutional crisis. So now what's the solution? Well, we got to impeach. Not Trump. That would actually help him politically. No, we're going to impeach Elon Musk. All right, that's how nuts they are, and we'll explain it all to you coming up in just a moment. Plus, the ladies on The View are absolutely obsessed with race. They can't let it go. And apparently, if you didn't like Kendrick Lamar and his Super Bowl halftime show, that's because you're a racist, obviously, not because the show was incoherent. Also, FEMA caught red-handed, not only defying Donald Trump's orders about what to do with FEMA money, but also giving money to illegal immigrants. You remember when they told us that wasn't happening? Of course it was happening. And now we're going to see the repercussions from all of it. And speaking of repercussions, Tom Homan, your border czar, he knows that somebody at ICE is leaking information about coordinated attempts to try to arrest criminal illegal aliens in this country. He's got a leaker. He's going to find out who it is, and he's going to prosecute. That's all coming up right now. We're brought to you by Birch Gold. My name's Larry O'Connor, and you can call me Larry. Welcome one and all to our live. I'm sorry, let me try that again. Welcome one and all to our live stream here every day at noon. I got lots of new viewers, lots of new subscribers, by the way. If you could just take a moment to like this video on whatever platform you're watching it on. I don't care which platform you're on. We love them all. Just go ahead and like it right there and go ahead and subscribe. I think over on the big YouTube platform, I think we're up to 530,000 subscribers. That's phenomenal. I'm paced to hit 600,000 by the middle of this year. Huge achievement. And it's all because of your incredible loyalty. Every single like puts this show in front of another pair of eyes. So why don't you just go ahead and throw us a like right now and watch what happens in real time. Thank you for that. Have you seen the news from certain economists right now? They're forecasting a depression, not a recession, a depression by 2030. We're in this perfect storm right now where Social Security and Medicare hit a breaking point with the largest generation hitting retirement all at the same time, plus a smaller workforce, meaning a smaller tax base to fund those programs. And then, of course, we've got our growing national debt, rising cost of living. It's the perfect storm. That's why these predictions are coming in. Now, there's a lot that's out of your control, but what can you do? Well, you can do whatever you can to secure your own family's future. Gold can be a safe haven in hard economic times, and Birch Gold makes it easy to diversify a portion of your savings into physical gold. Birch Gold will help you transition an existing IRA or 401k. I don't know where that sneeze came from, but at least you know we're live right now. Otherwise, that would have been edited out. You can transition an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold, and it doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. So protect your future today. Text Larry, that's my name, Larry, to 989898. Get your free info kit on gold, and you'll get a copy of the Ultimate Guide for Gold in the Trump Era with a foreword by Donald Trump Jr. No obligation, only information. We love information. You deserve to get this information. It's free. Why not get it? Text my name, Larry, to the number 989898. Do that today. Well, as we've pointed out, Democrats have finally found their fight. They've drawn a line in the sand. They're ready to die on that hill. They're ready to protect all of those bureaucrats who've been using billions of your tax dollars to pay for the Iraqi Sesame Street and a transgender musical in Ireland. That, darn it, we're America, and that's what we stand for. That's the Democrats' message, I guess. And they recognize that Donald Trump is incredibly popular right now, most popular as he's ever been. So what are they going to do? They're going to go after Elon Musk, apparently. Here's Elizabeth Warren this morning on Morning Joe laying out the strategy to save the republic from Elon Musk.
Oversimplify the election results because you've been around long enough, and I've been around long enough to know that a 1% or 1.5% swing would have changed things entirely. So I'm not going to be here to say, oh, Democrats have gotten everything wrong. and to that point, Kamala Harris may have lost the battleground states, but Tammy Baldwin, a lesbian legislator, won Wisconsin. and you had a woman winning Michigan. You had a progressive Hispanic winning Arizona. You had a female legislator winning Nevada. So it's not all black and white. I mean, Democrats did very well in other parts of swing states, too. That said, that's all a really big windup for this question. How in the world do billionaires gut agencies that are meant to protect working class Americans? How do billionaires raise tax cuts for billionaires and brag that they're raising tax cuts for billionaires and gut spending to protect working class Americans? And how do Democrats lose any elections among working class voters? Maybe you have an answer that the rest of us do not have, but does that not just seem crazy on the surface of it?
So let's take a look at Elon Musk. He spent $288 million.
Yeah, so the entire conversation, Elizabeth Warren says, yeah, forget about Democrats losing working class voters and forget about those programs. Let's talk about Elon Musk. But the question is, the answer is baked into Joe Scarborough's question there. I don't know if you heard it or not, but he said, how did we get to a point where a billionaire is gutting programs that were meant to protect working class Americans? And that's the language that you should be looking for. Programs that were meant to protect working class Americans, but certainly whatever they were meant to do or however they were sold to the American people, that's certainly not what they are doing. Instead, they become, tens of millions of dollars going overseas to undermine American interests. That would be USAID. And then the Department of Education. Did you see this one out of Health and Human Services? They just cut a program that was going to spend $160,000 on an Anthony Fauci museum. That's right. An exhibit celebrating Anthony Fauci using $168,000 of your tax dollars. And I know, that's not that much. No, but the point is, the majority of the American people right now not only distrust Anthony Fauci, they think he should be investigated for lying about the Wuhan virus and all of the things that came along with it. They know you don't like him, but they were going to spend that money anyway, knowing that you don't like Anthony Fauci. They're going to take money out of your pocket, money that should be going to other things that the government does, or maybe money that you can keep, by the way. And instead, they're going to spend it celebrating and honoring a person they know you don't like. And that's the point. They want to tick you off. And they want you to feel powerless. There's nothing you can do about it. What are you going to do about it? Well, now they're finding out what we're going to do about it. And I love Joe Scarborough trying to downplay this election. Well, it goes 1.5% the other way and everything's different. You know what, Joe? Look at the 2020 election and try to make that same argument. But that didn't stop Biden from firing everybody that Trump had appointed and reshaping all of these programs. The Green New Deal under the guise of Inflation Reduction Act. And that was way less than 1.5%, pal. This is what happens in elections. And you go ahead, keep whistling past that graveyard and downplay the achievement that Republicans and Donald Trump just enjoyed in this last election. First time, and it's only 1.5%. First of all, he won every single battleground state that was laid out in front of him, and it wasn't even close. Plus 1.5% in the popular vote. Yeah, you're right. It's the first Republican to win the presidency with the popular vote since 2004. And before that, you got to go all the way back to 1988. But yes, absolutely downplay what Trump just did. Meanwhile, you turned into CNN last night, and this is Caitlin Collins' shameful, hysterical reporting of the news to her audience.
We are 3 weeks into the second Trump presidency, 3 weeks, and tonight there are warnings that the U.S. is dangerously close to a constitutional crisis. Now, the first shoe on this dropped when a federal judge today said the White House is defying his order to unfreeze billions of dollars in federal aid, marking the first time that we've had a judge expressly accuse the Trump administration of ignoring a court ruling. And in a separate case today, federal employees here in Washington told a judge that the administration was defying another order by not reinstating workers who had been put on leave. Now, this all has prominent Democrats and many of the nation's top constitutional scholars declaring that the U.S. is on the brink of a reckoning. The Trump Justice Department says the president should have the authority to decide how to run the government and that these judges are overreaching. And some of the president's allies say the judges should not be judging any of the moves to shrink the federal government.
Actually, the Trump administration is not saying that the president should decide how the government functions. The Constitution says that, and any plain reading of the Constitution will confirm that. Did you hear how she started this report, by the way, trying to fearmonger whoever's still watching CNN that we're in the middle of a constitutional crisis? As I always say, whenever we dissect what the media does, pay attention to the language used here. I promise you, there are lots of sets of eyes that write this script that Caitlin Collins reads off the teleprompter using the one skill set she's got, reading a teleprompter. Take a listen to the words.
We are 3 weeks into the second Trump presidency, 3 weeks. And tonight there are warnings that the U.S. is dangerously close to a constitutional crisis.
There you go. There are warnings that we are dangerously close to a constitutional crisis. Really, who's voicing those warnings exactly? Oh, yeah, there are warnings, all right, from Jamie Raskin, from Maxine Waters. I'm sorry. Your indication here is that a judge has said that the Trump administration is defying his orders. First of all, last time I checked, one single judge cannot just blanket order an administration and the executive branch on what to do. But secondly, try the Biden administration, who defied the orders of a circuit court determining that the Remain in Mexico plan should get back into place. And sure, they followed that for what, a month, and then they just went back to catch and release. Or how about the Biden administration bragging about how they defied an order from the Supreme Court of the United States over their unconstitutional attempt to repay student loan debt? But I don't remember Caitlin Collins jumping on CNN in prime time with sirens blaring saying there are warnings that we're on the brink of a constitutional crisis. It's almost like they're hypocrites with a double standard and they only see things one way. It's almost like that. Meanwhile, Elizabeth Warren wore the exact same outfit on a different MSNBC show. This one, Rachel Maddow. Although Rachel, to be fair, looks a little bit like Joe Scarborough, but I don't know, a little more masculine. Is that fair to say? I mean, I don't want to be rude or insulting to Joe Scarborough, but it's true.
You're right. We've got our toes right on the edge of a constitutional crisis here. But here's the thing. It may be the case that Donald Trump is so full of confidence that he thinks he can wave his wand and whatever he wants to happen will happen. And in many cases, he will be right. For example, the Republicans in the Senate just go ahead and confirm people for jobs that they know they are not qualified for. So they will kowtow to him. But I don't think that's going to happen with the courts. And here's the next part. They may not be able to force Donald Trump to do something, but Donald Trump isn't actually the guy who puts in the orders and cuts people's paychecks. There's somebody else in the system who does that. And they're a click down from Donald Trump and a click down from that and a click down from that. And when a federal court issues an order and then gets people in front of them and says, you either follow that order or find yourself in contempt, now we're going to see whether or not those are people who are going to say, oh, but Donald Trump told me. And a judge is going to say, I don't care what Donald Trump told you. I'm telling you what the law is. You follow the law. And, you know, my view right now is the courts are where we are hanging on to our constitutional structure. They still have the power to hold everybody else in this country in contempt if they do not follow lawfully issued court orders.
Wow. So number one, you see what the Democrats, or at least the authoritarians like Elizabeth Warren's strategy is. Yeah, we can't go after Trump because he's popular and he's actually doing what he said he was going to do. So instead, we'll squeeze the little guy. We'll squeeze the guy who's actually executing the orders from the President of the United States. It's not Trump's fault for signing the executive order. We're going to go after the little guy and hold them in contempt for actually doing what the head of the executive branch tells him to do. These are contemptible, vile individuals we're dealing with here. But this is what authoritarians do. they bully and they intimidate, and they find the right judge to do their bidding. But here's the thing. Trump can find his judges too to offset what these judges did. Everybody's screaming about how we're on the brink of a constitutional crisis. We're on the knife's edge of a constitutional crisis. This is the media and the Democrats finding some narrative to terrify you about Donald Trump. You haven't bitten. You haven't taken the bait on anything for years now, since they said that he was a felon, a convicted felon, 38 counts against him. He could face 100 years in jail. You didn't care. Oh, he's a convicted rapist. That's a lie. And you still didn't care because you saw the truth of that story. Oh, he's holding nuclear war secrets that he's going to sell to our enemies down in Mar-a-Lago, so we have to raid his house in the middle of the night. You didn't care because you saw the truth behind all of that as well. They've thrown everything they possibly can at Donald Trump, and you haven't paid any attention. You haven't cared about it. So now they're just trying to scare you even more. It's a constitutional crisis. But nobody's just sitting back and saying, wait, why don't we watch things transpire? And then if we actually get to the Trump administration defying the Constitution, then maybe we can have this story. Then maybe we can have the conversation. Then maybe we can do our big siren bulletin on cable news primetime saying, all right, we're in a constitutional crisis. Instead, it's all, well, we're on the brink. We're on the knife's edge. We're very close. What does that even mean? We're very close. Because J.D. Vance and Donald Trump have said on social media that they disagree with the judge's rulings. Well, okay. I remember a day when Barack Obama stood in the floor of the House of Representatives during his State of the Union address and said to Supreme Court justices in attendance that they were wrong with their decision about Citizens United. Was that a constitutional crisis? Presidents are allowed to disagree with the Supreme Court, guys. And that doesn't put us on the knife's edge. This is all hysteria. It's because they have nothing else. Not only do the Democrats have nothing else to run on, they have nothing proactive, and they haven't. For 10 years, they have not stood for anything other than opposing Donald Trump and calling Donald Trump names and screaming that the sky is falling because Donald Trump is in the White House. And that's all they know how to do at this point. We have a whole generation of Democrat politicians who have won office and gotten elected on that and that alone. And they've got nothing else. And now that that doesn't work, they're stuck. They're absolutely stuck. So this is all they have. And meanwhile, this is all Rachel Maddow has, and Joe and Mika and MSNBC and Caitlin Collins on CNN. They don't know how to do anything else. So now everything they're delivering to you is, we're almost in a crisis. We're on the brink of hysteria, so we're going to be hysterical about it now, but then it might not happen. I mean, they go up to 11 on the dial every single time Trump does anything. I'm shocked that we're not on the brink of a constitutional crisis because the man allowed plastic straws back again. Actually, I shouldn't give them any ideas. They'll do exactly that. It's gotten so bad that Jamie Raskin, this guy, for the last several years in the House of Representatives, he's known how to do just one thing: investigate Donald Trump and impeach Donald Trump. And now he's sort of stuck because it's like, well, we've done that plenty of times and it seems to only make him stronger. So, well, now what are we going to do? I've got one skill set: to investigate and impeach. So, all right, here I am. I'm on cable news. I guess I got to do something.
Look, does not like the idea that a guy who would not even be constitutionally eligible to run for president is acting as president, a guy who, if he were president, would be impeached immediately because he's taking billions of dollars in foreign government emoluments from all over the world. And some people have actually been talking about impeaching President Elon Musk right now, on the theory that he's usurped the powers of the presidency. So
there you go. So they fraudulently claim that Elon Musk is the real president, and this is his way as the richest man in the world to getting power and gaining the White House, because otherwise he'd be ineligible because he was born in South Africa and he's not a natural born citizen. So they insult Donald Trump by saying that Elon Musk is really the president. Time magazine shows a picture of Elon Musk behind the Resolute desk, thinking that that that's going to tweak Donald Trump in some way or anger Donald Trump in some way. And Trump sort of brushed it off and said, what, really? Time Magazine? Is that a thing? I thought it died already. And so now, because none of that is working, Jamie Raskin has decided that we're going to pretend Elon Musk is the president. So now we'll have a pretend impeachment of Elon Musk. We'll impeach Elon Musk. That's what we'll do, because that's all we know how to do is impeach people, even people who aren't actually president or don't actually hold any official position in the administration. Are you seeing what's happening here? Are you enjoying what's happening here? I am. I mean, honestly, if this is all they've got and they just continue to go to this well, go ahead. Because while they're doing this, while they're acting absolutely insane, while they continue to perpetuate this obsessive madness over at 1600 Pennsylvania, they're actually getting stuff done. They're actually delivering for us. And they're actually fixing our country and letting us know exactly what went on for the last several years, last several decades, frankly, with your tax dollars, without your permission, without your consent. Everybody in Washington always says they want to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. And now we actually have somebody exposing all of the waste, fraud, and abuse and ending it. And all they can do is sit and watch and scream and say, that's it. We're going to impeach Elon Musk. Who's going to tell him? Who's going to break it to Jamie Raskin? You can't impeach Elon Musk. But go ahead and try. What the hell? You got to do something. I know how much you love watching The View. I know. It's the best, isn't it? But yesterday, Ana Navarro on The View probably took it one step even further than she usually does with the crazy, with the insane, with the rude, offensive, insulting language to you. Yesterday, in their post-Super Bowl wrap-up, they decided, well, I'll let you watch. I can't even formulate the words. Take a look.
You know I don't do sports. You know I don't do football, so I wasn't watching the game. But listen, I think today Donald Trump is going to sign an executive order banning black people from halftime. Because you remember last week we were talking about whether the NFL was capitulating to Trump by removing the term "end racism" from the end zone. Yeah. Boy, did they not capitulate to Trump. When I saw Samuel L. Jackson dressed as a black Uncle Sam introducing Kendrick Lamar, who then had like an entire formation of all black people making a U.S. flag. Listen, this much I know. All the black people on my feed were like, ooh, this is blackity black black. And all the racists who somehow get in, man, were they hopping mad. So if the racists are mad, I am happy as a clam.
I am so confused. I don't know. The proctologist's view of America that these women on this show possess every single day, it absolutely dumbfounds me, if I may. When I saw Samuel L. Jackson dressed as Uncle Sam, I thought it was great. It's cool. I liked it, right? When I saw the first image of all of the backup dancers and crew for Kendrick Lamar forming the American flag, I thought that was fabulous. Let's go. And then the awful music started. Then the incoherent lyrics started. Then I don't know what it was. It was a bad show with, I'm told, like 8 different songs on the playlist that all sounded sort of distorted and the same. I couldn't make out any of the lyrics until the very end when Kendrick Lamar wisely told me to turn off the TV. Anybody who had a problem with the halftime show at the Super Bowl, it really had nothing to do with race, darling. It had to do with bad music and a bad performance. What am I missing here? You know, last year it was Usher that performed, right? And he was great. And I hate to tell you, Anna, he's blackity black black. But we all loved it. Every single person that she's claiming is, racist because they didn't like the Super Bowl halftime show, they were also probably posting on their social media feed their favorite rendition of the Star Spangled Banner at a Super Bowl, which was Whitney Houston, who is, say it with me, blackety black black. The problem here is America is not racist, and so they have to come up with these things to invent racial rage in some way. And these privileged women who make way too much money to sit and give really stupid opinions. What does that even mean? Donald Trump's going to sign an executive order prohibiting blacks at a halftime show? I mean, it's not even funny. It doesn't make sense. It's illogical and stupid. It's, what's the word I'm looking for? Ana Navarro. That's what it is. It's Ana Navarro. But this is what they do. I'll let this finish up, and then we've got more, because then Sunny Hosting gets to join in.
Huge celebration of New Orleans, and you can't celebrate New Orleans without celebrating Black culture.
Yeah.
Welcome to Black History Month, you all.
So, thank you, Newsbusters, for the clip. Ana Navarro, who is, I don't know what to tell you. She's a fake Republican who continues to identify herself as a Republican political consultant. Can you please find me one Republican in the last 2 decades that actually ever hired her as a consultant and paid her to advise their campaign? I think maybe Jeb Bush in Florida had her as a consultant when he was running for governor, but I don't think she got paid. I'd love to know. Please educate me, Anna. Send me your CV. But yeah, you keep being a Republican strategist. Fake Republican strategist Ana Navarro has to come up with fake racism to foment fake race rage and claim that President Trump is going to sign an executive order banning blacks from the halftime show. Now, normally that would be the end of this, because we're just talking about some sort of daytime talk show a la Oprah Winfrey, or we're talking about some sort of late night comedy show a la Jimmy Kimmel or Stephen Colbert or Saturday Night Live. And who cares? It's just entertainment, right? It's just daytime television. See, but here's the problem. What you just saw from Ana Navarro, employee of ABC News, delivering information to an audience of an ABC News show that Donald Trump's going to sign an executive order prohibiting blacks at halftime. Yeah, that's a news show. That's what you just saw. You didn't see Jimmy Kimmel. You didn't see Saturday Night Live. You didn't see Oprah and some sort of daytime talk entertainment show. The View is an ABC News program. It's part of the ABC News umbrella. Ana Navarro, like her or not, is actually a colleague of David Muir and George Stephanopoulos. They both, all three, work in the ABC News division. That segment was a segment of ABC News product. You know, ABC News, the same group that just got sued and settled a defamation suit with Donald Trump for $15 million because George Stephanopoulos lied on air multiple times about him. That ABC News. Disney owned ABC News. That was news. I wonder if ABC News is actually going to say something about their employee lying to their audience like that. Oh, sure, it was a joke, which is fine for ABC Entertainment, but not so fine for ABC News, I wouldn't think.
I agree with Anna. I mean, with all these attacks on diversity, all these attacks on African Americans, it was so nice to see Black excellence and joy in front of the sitting president who decided for the first time to go to the Super Bowl. New Orleans.
I don't think it's ever going back.
I don't think it's going back. New Orleans, of course, is a predominantly Black city, very close to my heart, 55% Black. Then you have Kendrick.
New Orleans is 55% Black, which, by the way, I think is more Black than Sunny Hostin is. Sorry, just saying. Also, Sunny Hostin, by the way, is the ancestor of slave owners. So I'm not going to sit back and have her lecture me about racism in America. Also, this myopic, as I said, proctologist view of America that these women hold, that they say, oh, it was so nice to see diversity and Black excellence. But what they're pointing at is this incomprehensible, unwatchable halftime show, which was not diverse. It was all Black. And it wasn't excellence. It was mediocrity. No. There was diversity during the Super Bowl television broadcast, and there was Black excellence. But they can't even find that. They claim that's what they're looking for, but maybe it's me. The perfect example of diversity and Black excellence was the Super Bowl game itself. Diversity, you had people of all races playing a game at the highest level, and it didn't matter what race they were. What mattered was how good they were and how dedicated they were and how focused they were and how well they worked as a team. The Philadelphia Eagles, where the two best moments of the game were the Black quarterback, Jalen Hurts, kicking butt and winning the MVP and winning the game for his team. And then on the defensive side of the game, you had a white cornerback with an amazing pick six, first time in Super Bowl history, in a position where I'm told only Black players can play, right? And I don't care about race. The point I'm making is that's diversity, that's excellence, and they don't care about that, the actual game. They don't care about the actual performance of these athletes. All they care about is a mediocre all-Black rap performance that, objectively speaking, most people hated. But they've decided in some way to make a political statement out of it. So you go, Sonny Hostin. Go ahead with your mostly white self. Go ahead.
Kendrick Lamar. A lot of people said they didn't understand his performance. Guys, he's an award-winning, a Pulitzer Prize-winning musician and poet. Okay, so it was a many-layered performance. You've got Serena Williams crip walking. What I also really enjoyed about Kendrick's performance is it was performance art. If you really looked at it, it was multi-layered. Yes, he had people dressed in red, white, and blue, the colors of the flag, but he also had those people. He was standing in front of them because he's explaining that this is a divided country at this point. He also has them leaning to the side because this country was built on the backs of Black people.
Wow. No wonder I hated it. Guys, it's the halftime show of the Super Bowl. Maybe we can get a really popular performer performing live some of their best tunes or songs that everybody loves and everybody enjoys, and we can be entertained while the teams rest in the locker rooms. Yeah, we could do that. Or hear me out. How about we do performance art? How about we do performance art signifying the struggle of African Americans shot through the lens of the 1619 Project? How about that instead? And you know what? The best art in the world. I've said this 1,000 times. Everybody knows this. The best art in the world has to be explained the day after by a middle-aged rich woman on a daytime talk show. You know, if you didn't get it while you were watching it in real time, if you didn't really understand all of the subtext, then it's real art. If you have to tune in the next day and have this woman explain to you all of the nuanced imagery that you saw and what it really meant, boy, then you're talking real art, my friends. Art for the masses, by the way. They're trying to talk this show up. They're trying to tell you why it was so great. And they have to call it performance. It wasn't really a concert. It was performance art. Oh, okay. Well, I hate it even more now. Thanks. Then it was Whoopi Goldberg's turn.
Here's the thing. The Super Bowl is the Super Bowl. It's an American sport.
Yep.
And we got players of all colors playing this game. So the next time anyone decides that someone isn't good enough, that they shouldn't be, this is what decides if you're good enough. If you made it, you were good enough. Now, winners and losers, we will always have. But there is nothing to say that any one of us can't play. We're all invited to this game. We'll be right back.
Right. Of course. I mean, that's obvious on the face of it. But what she just said is not actually a political or racial argument in some way. And it's certainly, if I'm reading this right, not an argument for DEI. See, they tried to shoot this entire show and the Super Bowl itself through the lens of DEI. Like, see, this is why we need DEI. No, actually, Whoopi Goldberg just reaffirmed the fact D and I is fine. Absolutely. If I'm running a football team, I want diversity and inclusion, but I don't want anything to do with equity, right? Listen, I want to tell my player personnel people and my coaches, if you exclude somebody because of the color of their skin, even though they're excellent and great at what they do, you're fired. All right. We are an inclusive team here. We include everybody. We're a diverse team here. We want as diverse a team as possible. As long as we're including diverse individuals, they all have one thing in common. They're the best at what they do, and they're going to win me a championship. It's the opposite of DEI, pal. And I don't think Whoopi's smart enough to understand that. I think she thinks she just made a great point on behalf of DEI. All right. And then if you tuned in today to The View, they continued, actually. They can't let it go.
I mean, of course, I agree with everyone. I didn't realize racism was okay. I've often said I've never met a racist that says, hi, I'm a racist. Now I have met a racist that says, hi, I'm a racist. But I will say this. I'm so tired of this notion that a white man doing something like this at age 25 is a kid doing it. Because your frontal lobe is fully developed at 25. You are a graduate of Rutgers University. You're an engineer. You have had several positions, jobs with Elon Musk. You are not a kid. You are a man. And so this notion that, oh, well, he made childish and mistakes and it shouldn't ruin his life because he's just a kid. Really, there's a juxtaposition in which how they do treat Black boys. Black kids are often, treated as adults when they actually are children. So I really, really noticed that. And the other thing I'll say is the engineering dog team under Elon Musk.
Doggy.
The doggy team. The oldest person is 25. Mm-hmm. They range in age from 19 to 25. Yeah. And they are the ones that have the access to our most serious, sensitive information, and they have no real work experience. What happened to meritocracy? What happened to that?
They don't have a lot of life experience.
No, but
I'm actually fine with 25-year-old engineers if they're qualified as engineers. But then to Sunny's point, you don't get to say, oh, but he's a kid when he does something stupid. Either you are a savant engineer and you're going to take responsibility when you do things wrong, or you have no business being in the job.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. And thanks again, Newsbusters. That was actually from yesterday as well. That was obviously their commentary on this one Doge employee. I can't remember. Is it Big Balls or is it another Doge employee? I don't know. It could be both, who was temporarily fired for saying inappropriate things on social media many years ago, and then was rehired. And so forgive me, but the point is they're still race obsessed there, right? And everything has to be a racial discussion because, well, Sunny Hostin and Whoopi Goldberg are there, and they like to make everything about race. That was still yesterday's conversation. I apologize. But the point is this really smart summation there by Alyssa Farah, super smart, where she said, listen, you can't have it both ways. You're either a real smart 25-year-old savant or you're a kid and you do stupid things, but it's got to be one or the other. No, actually, it can, in fact, be both at the same time. First of all, the things this person said on social media were many years ago, so they weren't actually where they are in their life story right now, but that's regardless of the point. The fact of the matter is you can be great at your job, the job that you're hired to do, yet at the same time say stupid things and do stupid things because of your youth and inexperience. Of course, both can be true. But I love that that's in some way accepted as a really wise observation at The View. Oh, you're so right. You can't have it both ways. It's got to be one or the other. No. In fact, the wise and intellectual perspective on this sort of thing is you can be a really great programmer. You can be really great at what you do in the job that I hired you. Yet in your personal life, you can say really stupid things and do really stupid things. And David points out an obvious truth to this entire thing, that these women right here are the perfect example of that. Because Joy Behar, I believe, is 97 years old. And she's as dumb as a box of rocks. All right, here's today's contribution to the beauty of the view.
I mean, it's really and he's jealous of everyone. Now he's getting rid of the penny. He's even jealous of Lincoln.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he's so small, so petty.
He's small and petty. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Is that really supposed to be funny or in some way a wise observation? Trump has announced that he wants to get rid of the penny because, you know, it cost almost 3 cents to mint a penny. And Joy Behar, again, an ABC News employee, informs the viewers of an ABC News program that Trump's doing it because he's jealous of Lincoln. Oh, what does CNN always like to say? She said without evidence. Yeah, I'm not sure this is because Trump is jealous of Lincoln. In fact, didn't Barack Obama propose the idea of ending the penny? In fact, there have been multiple presidents who have looked at this and recognized that it doesn't make any economic sense for us to continue to mint pennies. But no. We're The View. We've only got an hour, and we've got to spend 98% of it attacking Donald Trump, even for things that he doesn't deserve to be attacked for, because it's all they've got. That's okay. We'll just continue talking about it. When they're stupid, it actually makes us a lot smarter. Sorry, I got those clips mixed up. Bad me. Bad Larry. Elon Musk and the DOGE team continue to uncover horrific corruption in our government. And this latest thing that they found is actually, frankly, a criminal offense that should lead to prosecutions. Here's what Elon Musk put on X, the Everything app, yesterday. DOGE team discovered that FEMA sent $59 million last week to luxury hotels in New York City to house illegal migrants. Sending this money violated the law and is in gross insubordination to the president's executive order. That money is meant for American disaster relief, and instead of being spent on high-end hotels for illegals, a clawback demand will be made today to recoup those funds. Now, this is bad in many respects. First of all, FEMA money should not be going to pay for hotel rooms for people who have entered this country illegally. That is not a federal emergency, which is what FEMA is supposed to be there for. Number two, Trump specifically prohibited this sort of thing in one of his executive orders. So you've got employees of an agency of the federal government openly defying the orders of the president of the United States to the tune of $59 million. And all this screaming about Elon Musk, we've got to impeach Elon Musk. Elon Musk is acting outside the Constitution. Elon Musk is upending our nation. Elon Musk must be stopped. This never would have been discovered. It never would have been found, right? Elizabeth Warren and Jamie Raskin want to tell you, oh, we should just let Congress do the oversight. That's it. Congress doesn't find this crap. The inspector generals don't find this crap, or if they do, they find it 5 years later and nothing's ever done. Elon Musk's team found it within a week of it happening, and they're immediately going to get that money back. This is a huge, huge development. And this morning on Fox and Friends, they discussed it with a New York congressman, but also talked about what the next steps are to keep this from happening, but even more importantly, to find out who did it and throw the book at them.
Fox News Alert, moments ago, we received this together. We received a statement from the DHS regarding the $59 million sent from FEMA to New York City migrants last week. Quote, 4 employees being fired today for circumventing leadership and unilaterally making the egregious payment for hotels for migrants in New York City. We have not announced it yet, so we have it first. There's going to be firings, the names are going to be out, and let's bring in New York Congressman Mike Lawler. Congressman, your thought about that move?
Well, it's long overdue, frankly. These funds have been misappropriated going back to the Biden administration, and New York City, a sanctuary city, has been wasting billions of dollars of taxpayer money, billions with a B, to provide free housing, clothing, food, education, and health care to illegal immigrants, including criminal aliens that are here illegally. And so, you know, I applaud, frankly, DHS for taking action to stop these payments under President Trump's leadership, because we have incentivized cities like New York and states like New York, a sanctuary state, to allow this to continue, and it has to stop.
All right, let me jump in here, Congressman Lawler, and then we'll let you finish. There's a couple of more minutes left to this conversation with Kilmeade this morning on Fox and Friends. So, Congressman Lawler, a good man, a Republican, in, I think, a lean Democrat district in New York. So, you know, you got to take it for what it's worth. He's applauding DHS for taking swift action here. Okay. What action did they take exactly? We had 4 rogue employees who defied the orders of the executive branch of government and doled out $59 million based on their own judgment. They just said, oh, no, we know there's an executive order. We know we can't do this. We've been told not to by the CEO, by the new duly elected president of the United States, but we're going to go ahead and do it anyway. $59 million. And we're going to pay it for these illegal immigrants while people are, you know, freezing in their tents in North Carolina because of the hurricane, or people are living, you know, in motels right now in Southern California because of the fires. No money there, but we've got $59 million that we'll give to a luxury hotel to house people who are in this country illegally in the first place. And we're applauding DHS because they discovered it and they fired the people. Let me ask you a question. I'll ask this to Congressman Lawler. I'll ask this to everybody watching right now. Let's say you had a real job. Let's say you weren't a congressman. Let's say you all who are watching us right now, let's say you had a job and you were in charge of spending money on certain things within the confines of your position. And your boss said, whatever you do, don't spend any money on X. Don't do it. You cannot spend any of this company's money on that thing. And then you went ahead and did it. In fact, not only did you spend the company's money without authorization on X, you spent $59 million of the company's money on X. And the company, by the way, is trillions of dollars in debt. It's not like the company has a lot of money lying around. Oh, sure, the company could just print money and make everybody else's money worthless. All right, the analogy is starting to go south here, but you get my point. Do you think the worst thing that happens to you is that you get fired? Or do you think maybe spending your company's money without authorization, in fact, forget about without authorization, with specific instructions and orders by the CEO of that company to not spend that money, do you think maybe you might have to face a criminal inquiry? Because last I checked, that's sort of embezzling, right? Taking money that's not yours and spending it on something that you want to spend it on when you were specifically told not to do it, when you were told that, in fact, if you do this, you're breaking the rules of this company. So we're going to applaud DHS for firing these people. How about asking DHS why they didn't immediately begin a criminal investigation of these people? This is why I'm not a congressman, I guess.
Look, it cost New York and it's a little selfish of us billions of dollars because the water was wide open for 4 years. And the mayor that spoke up got exiled in the Democratic Party. Ironically, he's about to be, I guess, in a way, pardoned or protected by this president who sees a lot of the targeting of Mayor Eric Adams as the same thing that happened to him.
No question. Eric Adams spoke out against what the Biden administration was doing. He said that the migrant crisis was, quote unquote, destroying New York City. Kathy Hochul authorized billions of dollars of state taxpayer money to pay for all these expenditures. Meanwhile, she's fleecing hardworking New Yorkers $2,500 just for the privilege of driving to work. It really just speaks volumes to how inept, incompetent, and corrupt New York has become under feckless leadership.
Right.
We have to stop this massive influx at the border, which is what President Trump is doing. But we have to stop incentivizing states and cities like New York by spending billions, and in this case from FEMA, $59 million to support their efforts to circumvent federal law. That's really what this boils down to. states like New York are circumventing federal law,
Right.
allowing illegal immigrants to get benefits and access to taxpayer money.
All right, so let's talk about something else that's just bizarre that's happening in New York. New York's top court set to consider non-citizen voting in New York City elections today. Get this, non-citizen.
All right, we'll save that insanity for another program because we're focusing on the FEMA story, but it is insanity. And you just heard the congressman specifically say that this is circumventing federal law. So I don't know. Last time I checked, circumventing federal law is a federal crime. So maybe we should do something about it. President Trump woke up this morning, maybe saw that segment, and then took to social media and said FEMA spent tens of millions of dollars in Democrat areas, disobeying orders, but left the people of North Carolina high and dry. It is now under review and investigation. I want to clarify and find out if that's criminal investigation. See, nothing changes unless people start going to jail. And Lord knows, let me tell you something. If you worked for the Department of Health and Human Services during the Biden administration, and you were told specifically to not spend any federal dollars on a pregnancy crisis center, right? A pro-life, religious, faith-based organization that helped women who were pregnant to keep them from getting an abortion, right? Biden administration says, no. We can't spend any money on that. We want every dime in this department spent on making sure those babies get killed in the womb, okay? And you decided that you would defy that order. And you would, in fact, direct money to a pregnancy crisis center run by the Baptist church or a Catholic church. If they caught you, do you think you'd just get fired? Or do you think maybe you'd face criminal prosecution? I'm pretty sure we all know the answer to that. I'm pretty sure we're confident of the answer, especially if you're Catholic. We know that's what they would do. Why are we not doing the same thing? This is what has to be done until this behavior ends. FEMA should be terminated. It has been slow and totally ineffective. Individual states should handle storms, etc., as they come. Big savings, far more efficient. He's right about that. But he's also right that there needs to be investigation. All right, so now I'm sure you're hearing all of this and you're thinking to yourself, just like I am, hold on, this all sounds familiar. FEMA money not going to the hurricane victims in Western North Carolina, instead being diverted to illegal immigrants in blue states. God, this sounds familiar. Didn't Dana Bash fact check somebody about that many months ago? And you'd be right. It was October of 2024, right before the election. Laura Trump was on with Dana Bash, specifically saying FEMA is sending money to Democrat states for illegal immigrants instead of helping American citizens who are devastated by this federal emergency, this disaster. And here comes Dana Bash to the rescue for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
Well, the citizens in Western North Carolina are screaming for help, and it's having to come from local citizens. People from my hometown of Wilmington are driving across the state 6 hours to go to the mountains and help people.
It is bad.
It is the federal government. Why are they out of
it is bad there. But my question is about the misinformation, particularly the notion that they are moving money to migrants, to, you say, undocumented migrants, which FEMA says flatly is not true. And if people are not getting correct information, then they can't go for assistance as they have been asked for. I just want to quickly play with Senator Tom Tillis.
Let me just say for 1 second.
Go ahead.
You have migrants being housed in luxury hotels in New York City. We have paid so much money from our tax dollars into the crisis that didn't need to happen. We could redirect money to help people immediately on the ground in North Carolina.
Laura, they're saying that they have
probably going to have a situation coming up in the next several days.
That's a separate tranche of money.
Yeah, that's different money. That's different money. FEMA says that's not happening. It's happening. In fact, it just happened. Where's the apology from Dana Bash? Are we going to get that apology? I don't think we're going to get that apology. No, we're not. They're constantly lying. And you know they're lying when they say that what you understand to be true is misinformation. That's the key. That's the tell. That's all I got. Except this, I do want to come back to just one quick thing here. I don't know if you saw this. Did you see Elon Musk's new ID on Twitter? I took great discipline to not point this out during the segment, right? He is now referring to himself as Harry Bowles. Harry Bowles.
Hey, Larry, can I interject real quick and send you a link on this exact note?
Sure. What do you got? Wait, on Harry Bowles? You're sending me a link about Harry Bowles? Because I don't think I want to click on it.
You do, trust me.
God. This is how I get into trouble. All right, let's see it. We'll watch it. We'll look at it together, everybody.
Apparently has adopted the alias, at least he changed his social media handle to Harry Balls, tweeted this morning, democracy in America is being destroyed by judicial coup. Now, the disruptor in chief, Elon Musk, who apparently has adopted the alias, at least he changed his social media handle to Harry Balls.
He specifically put the straight line over the O, so you didn't say balls. It's bowls. You can't even get that right. But now at least we have Dana Bash saying Harry Bowles, which was, worth the price of admission. How'd that go again, Dana?
The alias, at least he changed his social media handle to Harry Balls.
Why? Why are we so fortunate that we get to cover this White House and this media at this time in American history? It's just, honestly, it's an embarrassment of riches. Can I add to that, Kevin? Do you mind? Are we doing a little mini segment here on funny names?
Why not? But aren't you glad you clicked on the link?
Oh, no, I am. Usually when somebody says, hey, I got something about Harry Balls and a link I'm going to send you, I generally speaking do not click on it. But oh God, where did it go? Oh, shoot, I thought I had it in my timeline. Hang on, it's going to take a second to find. It's going to be worth it. So we have Dana Bash on Harry Bowles. And then we have, here we go. Get ready. Over on the other channel.
Take a deep breath for just a moment and ponder big balls.
Seriously, we don't deserve the great gold and riches that we are being delivered every single day in this news cycle. Look at her face.
Take a deep breath for just a moment and ponder big balls.
All right, let's move on because I'm just going to get myself into trouble. All righty. Federal law enforcement officials working for ICE face a very dangerous job when they have to go into neighborhoods and try to apprehend criminal illegal aliens. Many of them are murderers, rapists, deviants of various types. They're hardened criminals. And these law enforcement officials need to go in and try to apprehend them, mostly because Democrats have set up sanctuary policies in their cities. So rather than actually transfer custody of these criminals within the safe confines of the county jail, they've been released, because sanctuary. They've been released into neighborhoods, and now ICE law enforcement officials need to go in and do the dangerous job of trying to apprehend them. But it's even more dangerous when you've got people within the agencies leaking to local media and to local recipients of the information, leaking the details of these law enforcement operations. That apparently is what's happening. And Border Czar Tom Homan is spitting mad about it. He talked about it last night on Hannity. Take a look, and then we'll break it down.
Where are these leaks coming from?
Well, look, we think it's coming from inside. And we know the first leak of Aurora is under current investigation. We think we identified that person under investigation right now. The California leak, Secretary Noem, she's correct. Some of the information we're receiving tends to lead toward the FBI. But I talked to the Deputy Attorney General all this weekend. They've opened up a criminal investigation, and they have promised that not only this person lose their job and lose their pension, they're going to go to jail. They're going to criminally prosecute. So we're all over it. We got the DHS IG investigating the first one. Have a pretty good idea what happened. Can't share a lot because it's under investigation, but the IG's opened up a criminal investigation on the second one. We're sending a strong message. It's just not, giving the bad guys a heads up so they can escape apprehension. Right? We're arresting, giving, the Venezuela gang a heads up so we can't arrest them. You're putting officers' lives at risk. It's only a matter of time if we walk into a place where there's going to be a bad guy doesn't care. He's going to be sitting and wait for the officers to show up and ambush him. This is not a game. So DHS and DOJ are connected at hip to hold these people responsible in a criminal fashion.
There you go. A criminal investigation. Thank you. They should be tried and prosecuted immediately without prejudice. And he's 100% right. Listen, it's bad enough that these leaks are coming out, and they're being repeated by local news agencies too. The FCC is investigating a radio station in San Francisco who alerted local neighborhoods to ICE operations going on in the Bay Area. This is, again, a criminal operation, these leaks and the broadcasting of these leaks that, yes, put ICE officers in danger, very real danger. Remember how Democrats are constantly saying that they support first responders, that they, the only cops and first responders they've ever met that they ever wanted to give any lip service to and actually hold up as heroes were the ones who were working on the Capitol on January 6th. But these cops who are actually doing their job, they're just fine putting them in harm's way, number one. But number two, even without cops being in danger, which is bad enough, think about what they're doing. They're giving a heads up to murderers, to hardened criminals, people who are not only in this country illegally, but then have continued to break the law or broke the law, horrendous laws back in their home country that, yes, the Biden administration let in without any question whatsoever, carte blanche. Sure, hey, have your good time here in America. But these people who think they're being so noble as to give it, oh my God, ICE is coming. Hey, everybody, ICE is coming. They're not going to apprehend you. They're literally giving a heads up to hardened criminals, rapists, child molesters. So that was last night on Hannity. Com's office at the White House did a very smart thing. They had Homan work the entire morning television circuit. So what you're looking at there at the White House, this is a shot on the west end of the White House looking at the north drive up there. I think it's like they call it a portico, I believe. All along the driveway there, leading up to the West Wing, you've got these green tents, and they basically are stand-up positions that each network has, where they, whenever you see in the morning, whether it's Fox News or ABC or whatever, and they say, let's go to our correspondent at the White House. And this is the look, right? This is where they stand. They either have their reporter standing there with the White House in the background, or they have a member of the administration stand there and they talk to them from the studio. And there's like 8 of them all right next to each other. And Tom Homan was available for every single network to talk to. Of course, not all of them spoke to them. This one's Newsmax, and here's what he had to say.
I've been on several of these operations, the men and women FBI. They're great patriots, and they're out there helping us to take public safety threats off the street. But we've already found one leak, and that's being dealt with by DHS IG. And it wasn't FBI, but it was somebody within DHS. Secretary Noem, she said that the second leak appears to be someone in the FBI. Stuff that I've seen leads us to believe it's FBI. I've talked to the Deputy Attorney General. He's opened up a criminal investigation. We'll hold that person responsible. I don't care what the political beliefs are. I don't care if they think they're doing the right thing by, arresting public safety threats that are here illegally. The thing is, though, when they leak this information, it puts officers at great risk. It's only a matter of time before officers get ambushed by someone that just don't care. And they'll be waiting for ICE agents and DEA and FBI agents walk into that building and get ambushed. So this is not a joke. And when we find out who this is and we can prove who it is, they'll be criminally investigated and prosecuted. And I have no regrets to that. They need to be held criminally responsible for this.
That's right. Listen, let's just be clear. There's a mole at DHS, maybe multiple moles, who are working against the interests of law enforcement, of Homeland Security, the federal government, against the American people. This is like having a spy working for communist China or for the Soviet Union during the Cold War, and who was actively giving a heads up to our enemies. And Homan is absolutely correct here that it's only a matter of time until something tragic happens to one of these cops. Because understand something, the people that they're going to apprehend right now, that they're going to catch, these are hardened criminals who will be arrested. They will be deported. In many cases, they'll be sent back to Venezuela or to El Salvador to go into a prison in those countries. They are desperate individuals. Their choice is, okay, I either go back to a Venezuelan jail or I try to shoot my way out of this thing, kill the cop here in America who's trying to catch me, and find sanctuary in Berkeley, California, because Gavin Newsom will take care of me. What do you think they're going to do? So Homan continued on Newsmax here.
Seems like you are also running up against the wall every single day, trying to do the job that the American people sent Donald Trump to the White House to do. On Sunday, a judge in New Mexico, temporarily blocked you guys from transferring 3 Venezuelan migrant gang members to Guantanamo Bay. These guys were TDA. You got to fight the Democrats. You got to fight the Pope. You got to fight judges. When does it stop?
It's not going to stop. I said from day one, we're going to be litigated every day. Every step we take to secure that border, every step we take to remove millions of illegal aliens that were illegally released in this country by the Biden administration. I mean when I say that, the immigration law clearly states in the statute, if you show up at our borders without proper documentation into this country, you shall be detained. Not maybe, not think about it, not put them in a hotel room at $500 a night. You shall be detained. So look, we're going to do this job. We knew we were going to be litigated. We knew lawfare was coming, but I'm confident everything we're doing is per statute. Before the president makes any executive order, before we take any enforcement action, we make sure that we're following the law as written by Congress, that is enshrined in statute. So we're going to win these court cases. It's just them stalling us, them putting up roadblocks. But again, they're not going to stop us. We're not going to slow down. Sanctuary cities, we'll double the manpower in sanctuary cities. We'll double the targeting in sanctuary cities. We're coming, and you're not going to stop us.
All right, so he's pretty determined, and you're not going to get in Tom Homan's way. By the way, that's what you want from your border czar. That's boy, were we missing this kind of action during the Biden administration. But of course, that border czar and that administration actually wanted to keep the border open and wanted this criminal element in the country. That's why Homan has to go and clean it up now. And then Homan, after doing his Newsmax hit and whatever other shows hit he did. Oh, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. See the green tents there along the side? In fact, is that Caitlin Collins arriving for work? Can't tell in the background there. It might be. But they're there. Those are all the tents that we're talking about. See the lights? And that's where you can go and you can stand. You're either a reporter or you're a member of the administration there. And the gate right behind there, that's the Secret Service gate that you have to get into if you have business at the White House, at least on that end, if you have a media business or if you're going into the receiving area at the Roosevelt Room. Yes, that's right. I've been there. I'm your man on the scene. In fact, just so you know, it's kind of in the works, but I'm hoping to do a live Larry show from the White House at some time in the next, during this administration. That's my hope. It'll just be an interview with multiple members of the administration. But anyway, here comes Homan speaking to the other gathered reporters there, right in front of the entrance to the media space in the West Wing.
Mr. Homan, is the president happy with the number of arrests?
I'm not. The rest, if you look at the rest in the interior enforcement, it's about 3 times higher than it was a year ago today. 3 times higher is good, but I'm not satisfied. There's more criminal aliens that need to be arrested, hundreds of thousands. Sanctuary cities are putting roadblocks up. We got leaks. So we need to increase the arrest of illegal aliens, especially those with criminal convictions. So we're going to continue. So 3 times higher is good. The numbers are good. For me, not good enough. We got to get more.
Mr. Homan, what's your message for the sanctuary cities? You just said we're putting up roadblocks. Do you have a message for them for Chicago, for example?
Well, Attorney General Pam Bondi is going to investigate them. We're going to hold them accountable. Sanctuaries are sanctuary criminals. End of story. They're sanctuary for criminals. Let us in the county jail to arrest the bad guy in the safety and security of the county jail. It's safer for the alien. It's safer for the officer. It's certainly safer for the community. Any sanctuary city that purposely release public safety threats back into public is stupid. I mean, let us arrest the bad guy in the jail, because what the sanctuary cities are seeing, I already see the stories. Non-criminals are being arrested at a higher rate. And they're going to keep being arrested at a higher rate because we can't arrest a bad guy in the jail. We got to go to the community. When we go in the community, we're going to find a bad guy. When we find a bad guy, he's probably with others that aren't a criminal priority, but they're going to get arrested too. We're not going to tell ICE agents, ignore the oath you took, ignore the laws of immigration enforcement, just arrest a criminal. No, we're taking everybody. So sanctuary cities are going to get exactly what they don't want. More agents in the neighborhoods and more non-criminals being arrested because they forced us in the community.
Tom Homan is too good to be true. He's like a character from a movie back in the 40s, right? He's exactly what you want from a cop who is focused and determined to do the job that he's been hired to do, that he swore that he would do. And the message to these sanctuary cities is perfect. It's a twofold message. Number one, if you are literally giving sanctuary to a felon, to a criminal who we are pursuing, then you are breaking the law. It is against the law to give sanctuary to a felon, to a criminal. And so you will be held accountable as well. We will arrest you. That means the mayors. That means the governors. Absolutely. All right, number one. And number two, you're actually causing the exact problem you're trying to solve. You want to keep innocent people from being deported? Well, more innocent people will be deported because of your sanctuary laws. Because if we go into the jail to get these criminals and deport them, then they're the only ones we're apprehending. But if we have to go into somebody's house and there's 8 other people there, we're taking names and we're checking papers. And so the exact thing you're trying to avoid with your so-called sanctuary policies, you're actually causing. I have a hunch that these sanctuary policies right now, these illegal rogue sanctuary policies, are going to start disappearing across this country. Just a hunch. It's funny what happens when federal law enforcement actually enforces federal law. We haven't seen that in quite some time. By the way, you just heard Homan talk about one end of the border security policies that the Trump administration has put in for the last 3 weeks, the deportation, the apprehension and deportation process. That end, I think, is whatever numbers and stats he just gave you, obviously a great improvement from what we saw during the Biden administration. But what about the other end? What about the prevention end? What about actually keeping people from illegally entering this country? Well, Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller was in the Oval Office yesterday when President Trump was signing executive orders. The media was assembled, and the question was raised about border security. Miller laid out the facts.
Steve, I'd like you to say a couple of words about it.
Yes, well, as you know, Mr. President, since you issued your day one executive orders, border crossings are down approximately 95%. You talk to agents on the line, in their entire careers, they've never seen crossing days as low as what they're experiencing right now. The cartels, in fact, are enormously frustrated because they've never seen a clampdown like this before in American history. There are people who were working at Border Patrol back when it was INS in the 80s and 90s. They've never seen a day like this. That's because you've mobilized the 10th Mounted Division, the Marines, the entire U.S. military. They're erecting physical miles of barrier, temporary and ultimately permanent, every single day. You have all of your border agents pushed to the front line. They're not doing the humanitarian processing, quote unquote, that Biden was doing. They're doing law enforcement and national security. They're interdicting weapons and drugs. They're interdicting violent, high threat criminals. And the U.S. military is repatriating illegal immigrants at a pace and a skill that has never occurred before in American history. And those who are committing human trafficking and child trafficking are being prosecuted for felony offenses, and they'll be doing hard time in jail. There's never been a lockdown like what you have implemented through your orders and vision since you took the oath of office.
Wow. This is why we love Stephen Miller, and this is why we're happy that Donald Trump won the presidency, and this is why the last 3 weeks of our lives have been so extraordinary. It's amazing what's happening right now. Let me just sum it up this way. America's laws are being enforced. People who are violating our laws are being apprehended, and they're being dealt with in our justice system. Our border has been secured, and those who violated our border laws are being found, and they're being punished. And the people who are best at doing those jobs are in place and effectively carrying out the law and actually doing their job. In other words, let me just put it this way. The grown-ups are back in charge. Good show, everybody. By the way, I have 2 quick things for you. I'm going to get to your super chats in a minute. I have 2 quick things for you, for everyone who's still watching live, and it's a nice big audience. Buy my book. It's called Shameless Liars, How Trump Defeated the Legacy Media and Made Them Irrelevant, and it's available on Amazon, including audiobooks. And my other thing is, and I haven't talked to Kevin about this, CPAC is next week. Kevin, did you know that CPAC is next week?
I did.
CPAC is next week. I'm going to be there. I do stuff at CPAC. I'm on stage for a lot of events at CPAC. I'm a speaker at CPAC. I'm involved with the program. Also, I'll be doing my morning radio show there from my radio station here in Washington, D.C. every morning. The question is, one of the days there is Thursday, one of our show days. I love having a production meeting with my team in front of everybody. Last year, we didn't do a show at CPAC because the format of this show just didn't make sense. But I had a thought. We could do a special Larry show from CPAC, live from CPAC. The only reason to do it, though, would be to have it be an interview show. For me to line up like 5 guests or 4 guests and have them like churn one after another, just sitting right next to me. And I interview them for 15 minutes each for an hour, right? And we'll have we'll find congressmen, senators, members of the media, things like that. Would that be something you'd want us to do? It would be a little off format here for us. Wouldn't be your typical show, but would it be something that you would want us to see? We'd love to hear in the chat, in the comments down below, if you would want us to do that. Or should we just go a day without a Larry show? Because it's hard to do it from Media Row, the way we do our show. But we could try to figure it out. But it would be challenging, what with the noise and the distractions and things like that. So would you rather have a regular show from CPAC? Here's your choices. Could we put a poll together? Don't we do polls on these social media platforms? Somebody do a poll. We want to see. All right, so we got 3 choices. No Larry show next Thursday at CPAC, or a live from CPAC regular formatted Larry show, and we'll figure out how to make it work. Or a special CPAC Larry show where it's interviews with lawmakers and newsmakers from CPAC. Let us know which of those 3 you would like. And
Can you go through the options again real quick, Larry?
The options are no show because it's CPAC and it's hard to do a show from CPAC. Number 2 is a regular Larry show, but just live from CPAC, which may be difficult, but we'll figure it out. Or 3, a special Larry show from CPAC featuring nothing but interviews with me interviewing lawmakers and newsmakers and personalities from CPAC. Those are the 3 choices.
Great. We've got a poll running on YouTube.
Let us know. Swing on over to YouTube and let us know what you want us to do, and we will take it under consideration. But this is not a freaking, democracy. We'll take it under advisement. Your opinion matters, but I'm not saying what you want is what's going to win. Who am I kidding? It's whatever Kevin wants. Whatever Kevin's willing to do.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, well. No, but if the interview idea works, and if that's what wins, we could line up 4 pretty kick-ass interviews and put it together for a special show live from CPAC. It'll be fun. If you want. I do love enjoying. I enjoy interviewing people, and CPAC is a very good place to interview people. Maybe even the MyPillow guy. All right, Ball State. I love the MyPillow guy. Ball State alum, our buddy Ball State with Tom Servo with a $10 super chat. Thank you for that. Larry, correct me if I'm wrong here, but all these agencies fit under the executive branch of government. Is so then why y'all serve at the pleasure of the president, but Congress has no say in this. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm not understanding about any of this too. I mean, the executive branch is the executive branch. This is what it's like. By the way, remember when Obama was president? And whenever we would yell and say, well, you can't do that, you can't do that. He was like, well, elections matter. That's why you got to win. Elections have consequences. There you go. And he would rub your face in it. Well, okay. Consider your face rubbed in it. I don't understand why this whole, it's a constitutional crisis. No, actually, the Constitution is being followed perfectly here. The executive branch runs the executive branch and all of these agencies. You're absolutely right, Ball State alum. Well done. But Tom Servo's almost always right anyway. Angela, our angel, with a $5 super chat. Insane, deranged Dems are on point to lose more in the midterms and in 2028. President Trump, Elon are exactly what I, along with 77 million Americans, expect. Well, that is what's driving them the craziest, Angela. is that he's doing literally exactly. It's like, well, no one told us that Elon Musk was going to be doing this. No, actually, that's exactly what they said over and over and over again. Remember, how many times did Trump bring Elon up on stage? We're going to do a Department of Government Efficiency, and Elon's going to go in with his little merry man of programmers, and they're going to figure all this stuff out. They are literally doing what we wanted. Thank you, Angela. And $2. Will the hog farm run out of slop and be canceled? I think she's referring to The View there.
Yep.
With the hog farm. I don't know what do you think the ratings are like for The View? See, this is the insidious thing about this. As crazy as they get, sometimes that actually works out to better ratings for them. I just can't imagine why advertisers would want to go there.
Because advertisers generally skew left because of institutional pressure.
Although that's freeing up a bit, actually. We'll see. But I think you're right there, Kevin McMahon. I think you're right. Thank you for that, Angela. I appreciate this. Oh, and another $2 super chat from Angela. Angela, you're so sweet to us. Can Congress please end sanctuary cities? Yeah. That's a great question. I don't think you need Congress to end sanctuary cities. I think that the federal law enforcement can end sanctuary cities, which is how we're seeing it play out. I guess Congress can do that too. But it should be sort of baked in the cake based on the supremacy laws that federal law overrides state and local laws, right? That's the supremacy clause, which means that you can't harbor a fugitive from federal law. It's just that nobody's had the balls, the hairy balls, the big balls to actually do something about it until this president. Thank you, Angela. You're very sweet. Jim, I don't know how sweet you are, but we appreciate the $5 super chat. As long as it's not Broken Arrow Liawatha that you interview. Are you talking about Elizabeth Warren? I would love to interview Elizabeth Warren, but no, she won't be at CPAC. I'm doubting that she will be at CPAC. But we'll have some pretty good ones. On my radio show this morning, we had the esteemed chairman of the Judiciary Committee in the House, Jim Jordan, the fine gentleman from Ohio. That was a great interview. We love Jordan. And actually, he's come live oftentimes when I've done shows at CPAC and done that. You like that Jim Jordan there, Kevin McMahon? He's a good congressman, isn't he?
Big fan.
Big fan of the Judiciary Chairman. Strangely, though, he did not go to the Ohio State University. Can you guess where Jim Jordan went to college, Kevin McMahon?
Oh boy,
you need to get better at your Jim Jordan trivia. Come on.
Is it an Ohio school?
It is not an Ohio school. It is a Big Ten school.
Oh, is it Michigan?
No, that would be great though, and that would be typical for me. Oh my gosh, that's right. Quinn is also an Ohio State type, isn't she?
Yes. Go Bucks.
Although you go to school in Michigan, do you not?
It's only a little bit over the border. Come on.
Yes. No, it is a Big Ten school. I will give you a hint, Kevin. It is connected to your past employer.
I Googled it.
Say it.
UW-Madison.
University of Wisconsin. He's a Badger. He's a freaking Badger, that Jim Jordan is. Can you believe it?
I was pushing for, I was hoping you were going to say it was an Ohio school, and my guess was going to be the University of Dayton.
Wow. Why were you pulling Dayton out of your hat?
My dad's from Dayton. It's
oh,
a
there
Catholic
you go.
School. Well, it is a Catholic school.
Why do I have so many Ohio people in my life? This is awful for a Michigander like me. The only solution to any of this is for everybody to buy my book. This is the hardcover, by the way. It's beautiful, isn't it? Look at that artwork. Shameless Liars, How Trump Defeated the Legacy Media. I've got blurbs here. Look at that. Governor Scott Walker, Ambassador Richard Grinnell, who, by the way, just got named as executive director of the Kennedy Center. How great is that? Ambassador Richard Grinnell, Mark Levin, the great one, Sean Spicer, the pretty okay one, and the amazing Molly Hemingway. Those are the reviews I have there for my book. So if they like my book, certainly you should like my book. So go ahead and buy it, hardcover, paperback, and audiobook over there at Amazon, and you'll make everybody happy, especially my wife. All right, I think we're done here. That was fun, though. I appreciate today's show. Appreciate the audience. Appreciate all the likes and subscribes, and appreciate you more than you'll ever know. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. My name's Larry O'Connor, and you can call me Larry.